Since the 7.5 update and the following, I've been starting to wonder which is the direction that the publisher and developer are taking the game towards in terms of the balance. So today I've noticed that there are a couple of new Balance Lab updates that I have not checked out. I've opened here a couple of tabs that I want to see, and while I do not want to strictly read what's written here, I want to comment on it and tell you about what I think will be the impact on the balance of the classes and in the game in general. So let's start with the first update. The first update is the May update, 20 May update, which was released on the 27th, and a couple of months have already passed, but I've opened here this tab because I want to read the reasons that they write here, because many skills have been changed between this patch and the next one, the following one. So here it says, well, this is Google translated, so bear with me. Basically what it says is that they have improve the scope related skills, which I don't really understand what it means, but the general idea of this patch is that they will change the range type skills. So what it means is the AoE, and they want to include in the range, in the number of people that you can hit, more and more targets. So they have expanded the target skill application, I think not only for some jobs, but almost all jobs or classes from what I've seen. And well, let's start to think about why they have made it. Well, I think in Korea and more than in our own servers, group PvP is still a bit more active, and especially with the new cross-server functions, you tend to meet more groups rather than a single duel, say. So I think they want to make the group PvP a bit more challenging and interesting. So I will go to the Aion PowerBook website, which I've opened here, for the detail and the correct pictures and name of the skills, because I do not want to read the wrong names that you see here and maybe get confused about it. And we will go back to the next update in a second. So let's start from the Gladiator. So the Gladiator was changed a bit in terms of AoE skills, like we were saying, but what I was surprised to see is this one, which is an audience skill which barely anyone uses. I think this is not very useful, but they try to give you a bit of more options to use it, because it hits now more people, so you can do quite a bit more damage in terms of group PvP. This is the same idea applied better, I think, to the AoE skills, which we see here. The other two are better. So the improved AoE skill, the improved vision skill, hits 18 targets now. So if you have enough money to upgrade another Stigma set and you do not want to only use the range vision for the Gladiator, you now have another option, though I don't really see this as being very useful in your daily Aion routine. Anyway, the idea is that you get more damage output for group PvP. So the Templar on the other end did not get very interesting changes. I think just Sword of Wind is notable, but only a couple more targets does not make it a very powerful skill compared to the other changes. So the Templar pretty much stays the same except for the taunts and the change in the enmity boost. The Cleric on the other end was changed quite a bit between this patch and the next one. So the first skill is not very useful in my opinion. This is just an audience skill that I don't think many people use. On the other end, the Paralyzing Blow was nerfed and it was changed from 2 seconds to 1 with a longer cooldown. This other skill is basically the normal and improved version, but yeah, this was changed quite a bit, but yeah, it now reduces cooldown of something else. It makes sense to link somehow these skills, but yeah, it is not a very powerful change in my opinion. Once again, they have nerfed even this skill, and yeah, but they have improved the saving grace, which now gives defensive stats. Well, it was already doing that, but compared to a few patches before, you get a bit less cooldown on your salvation skills, but as we will see later, they have changed them once again. The Chandler gets a bit more AoE, just like the Gladiator. This is just pure damage output in terms of group PvP. Metal Chain is changed. This is an Odian skill. Blind Pursuit, the improved version, and the Roaring Wind Bludgeon. This is the Vision, the AoE Vision. The Assassin again gets changed. An Odian skill is changed, though I think pretty much everyone uses the Deadly Focus one, not this one. But yeah, this is a buff. It deals more damage to targets that are shocked, slowed, or immobilized. Flash of Speed, let's see. Teleports forwards, clear movement restrictions. It gives a basic hide state for 3 seconds. This is very powerful. It allows you to use skills that you can only use during hide. So I think this fits very well the recent changes to the other hide skills. And yeah, Massacre is just changed in terms of number of targets you hit. Ranger, once again, these two skills are not very useful in the kit, but they try to give you a bit more AoE to Arrow Storm and Arrow Deluge. And the Sorcerer, yeah, again, they try to give you more AoE to Meteor Wave and Frosty Binding, but I'm a bit skeptical about this, but yeah, still it is a bit more damage and you can bind more people, I guess, with your Frosty Binding if you use it. And the same goes for the Seismic Blast and its improved version. Now the Spirit Master, this is quite powerful if you do use it, though I don't know which Odian the Spirit Master currently uses. But anyway, 2 out of 3 Odians are improved, so you get more targets to hit, and the same goes for these couple of skills here, Sandblaster, Paralyzed Mind, and so on. The Bard, this is quite nice, but yeah, again, I don't know if you do want to use this skill as your Odian. And the same idea is applied to all skills, but let's see this one. They changed the effect of this skill. Now it will allow you to deal increased magic damage. I think this is an extra debuff that you apply with this skill that currently you do not have. The Painter, now I'm not sure if this is my own mistake, my own fault. I don't know if the current Odian for the Painter does petrify 6 targets, I guess so. I've not seen it being used yet, but it should move from 6 to 10, which I think is very powerful for the Painter, especially for group PvP, because it allows the Painter to be a bit more useful in large scale PvP. And the same goes for this other skill that currently no one uses, but yeah, if you do have it, you can upgrade it. You have a 24 seconds cooldown, you can use it a bit more. The Gunner gets changed a bit, especially for the concentrated headshot. I think this is important, because if you do own by now an ultimate form, you were able to shoot many skills in 3 seconds, but now you can only deal 3 critical strikes guaranteed during 7 seconds or 4 in 10. The other skills are just, I think they are mainly cannon skills which were changed, and they increased the AoE. Once again, the idea for this update, and we'll see the same here lastly in the Aether Tech, the idea is that you want to be able to do group PvP better, and not only groups but allies. So I see where this comes from, because we now have cross servers activities and more people in the same spaces. Anyway, the ether tag gets pretty much the same. Yeah, this is just AoE increases. Moving on to the next update, this is June-July update, very recent. And I think the basic idea of this update is that this is more interesting to me. They finally decided to change the percentage based heal on the HP and MP. This was quite a bit of an interesting thing for the people that have more and more HP now with the gear and the minions and so on. So if you had a very high amount of base HP, you would heal much more compared to other people. And I think the main idea of this is that if you have so much HP, you have a very large output, because you are able to heal effectively a percentage of your HP, the fight lasts too much. Maybe this is my own perspective on this update. They want to make the game a bit more flashy, or they want to give more value to your base HP, because right now you already have the potions that do heal in terms of percentage. You have some weapons that give you active abilities that let you heal. You have many skills that deal in terms of percentage. So as we will see in a second, they swapped from percentage based to raw numbers. So let me move to my other tab, which I've opened here. Basically, this whole patch is based on the change in terms of heals. Let's see in detail and try to understand what it means. So as a gladiator, I'm not happy about the second wind change, because this was quite powerful, though it is similar if you think about it in terms of heal, because more or less you have 100,000 HP now, more or less. The increase of HP is a bit nerfed, but yeah. I don't know, it kinda makes sense, but I think if you move towards more and more HP, you would have gotten more out of the percentage based, of course. Anyway, the same is applied to the Templar, which has been the main class who had the most benefit from this, together with the Cleric, I think. So you do get pretty much the same numbers. They've tried to keep it a ratio, say, thinking that the let me swap to our own language. Anyway, the numbers are pretty much based on a player having 100,000 HP, more or less. They want to focus on that. So who has more is effectively a bit nerfed by the changes. Iron Skin is changed, Empire and Armor. This is, yeah, I think this is a big nerf. Increase HP by 50% is now only 25,000. Yeah, this is quite big of a nerf, but once again, Templars were starting to have a bit too much HP. The Cleric, now this is huge for Clerics. Noble Grace does not increase the percentage of effect of heals on the group. This is removed. So it just gives a bit more HP now. I don't even know if this is worth using by now with this change. I don't know what you could swap with, but seeing it like this, I don't really like it. And the same is applied to all the other skills. The salvations, which were just implemented, have been changed again. This is huge, because say you have 100k HP, you now heal only a quarter, and the acquital is changed. But I think this change, I see where this come from. The Chanter, let's see, they changed the Shelter of Regeneration. Well, this is not huge, but still a bit of a change. the Spirit Master once again. Well, this is quite important because the Spirit Bundling skill is one of the main buffs for the Spirit Master, and it is quite powerful. They wanted to reduce a bit the life of the SM, which, to be fair, it was starting to get a bit too much, I think. And the Bard as well is changed in Hymn of Hope or Melody of Hope, depending on what you have. Let me see, because I don't remember what it currently does. I see, yeah, well, this was the DP. I don't know if it is still the DP, but they changed the amount you heal. This is huge nerf. I think this is basically a potion now, even less than a potion. And finally, the Gunner. I think this is a bit of a nerf for the Gunner, but again, just like the other classes that are burst based, I see why they want to do this. They don't want to have a very chunky burst DPS that you cannot kill with your own burst, because if you have less burst than a Gunner, say, or a Bard, and you try to burst him down, if you have the same amount of HP, of course the burst class wins. Say you are a Gladiator and you are trying to kill a Gunner. If the Gunner can heal himself pretty much in same terms of numbers, say like this, even more than your own second wind, but it has the same HP and more damage, what you get is a tank with more damage, basically, especially in duel situations. And well, the AT gets its own reset and escape skill. So, trying to put this together, what we get is, I think the patch is moving towards more flashy and less lasting, if you can say that, shorter PvP. They want to swap again to shorter group PvP because you have more damage in terms of AoE, but you heal less. Especially try to think of the Noble Grace. You were used to Cleric giving you the pre-buffing the Noble Grace. You go in the fight, you get a lot of damage, but you get refueled pretty quickly. So now the Cleric has to be more careful with what he's doing, and in general all classes are a bit more squishy, I think. The main impact is on... well, I think only the Assassin was not touched by any of these skills, but I think the Cleric is the more changed because of the new Salvation and the Acquital change, and especially the Noble Grace. And yeah, the Templar and the Gladiator maybe a bit, because they were the two classes with the most HP, but on the other hand, the Gladiator was given a bit more damage in terms of AoE, so it is more towards a damage dealing class rather than a tank. The Templar is still okay, but yeah, they did not change it much here. Once again, here the Cleric was changed and nerfed a bit. I don't know the direction that they want to go. Maybe they want all Clerics to quit. But yeah, I guess this is what I wanted to check out today and try to be updated with the news. I hope you enjoyed this kind of video. This is just me talking and checking out the patch. I've done a couple of these before, and yeah, I just wanted to stay in touch with the updates. I will see you very soon, guys.